which is opening now at 5:01 p.m. First item, review and approval of the April 12, 2016 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 12, 2016?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I have a second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. In favor?
Aye.
Anyone else? Okay. Is anyone?
Well, I was here and appointed, so I can vote on that motion.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Motion carried. Exact number on that. Item number 2, confirm state funding.
Okay, there's not a lot of change since the last month here. The confirmed state funding is the same list that we had last meeting, and so is the next couple of pages, which are the 2015 and 2016 county capital plans. The only comment I'd make on this right now is that Carol, myself, and Kate Murray have gone through this, and we've proposed a letter that we're going to send to the county. Once the operating budget is settled with the county, we're going to be talking to them about our priorities of getting funding, not things added to the capital plan, but just funding inserted in this current year so that we can get some projects moving. That's all promised in here, but actually bonds have to be sold. Money has to be put in the current year to actually spend. So we'll be doing that after other things get settled. And as we are right now, all the key projects are still moving along. And Carol will cover that in the project report. The next item here is the expenditures. Carol?
We have roughly 15 expenditures. The only large one, I guess the largest report, is the Keystone Ridge, which is $57,000 for furniture for the CCB courtyard and the outdoor areas around the Student Service Center. Everything else is relatively minor, and nothing exceeds our threshold. So if you have any questions on the
Consent, you report a penny to us?
we report everything, every expenditure.
That's not an expenditure.
No,
It's
a placeholder.
The last one there is actually, this is another one of those good deal things where this particular firm, Signal Campus here, like the bus shelters that are on the campus, they sell advertising on these recycling bins, provide them to us free of charge. We get a cut of the advertising revenue, and then, yes, just like the bus shelters, we get a cut of that. And actually, on the Davis Avenue renovation, Carol will show you here, we've got 2 kiosks from the same company that does the bus shelters. They're 3-sided. We get revenue from the 2 sides they sell, and we get 1 side for ourselves. So we'll have some free advertising for whatever we're looking for. And the recycling bins. And recycling, free recycling bins, which are not cheap.
They're large.
Outdoor recycling bins are very expensive. Reimbursement?
Reimbursement, we actually have no pending reimbursements to report. Everything that we submitted has been paid by SUNY, and they continue to be very prompt in their payments. Any questions on that one? Good to note our total to date is $96 million that we've submitted for reimbursement, and we got back $40 million for the county. That's a good thing to note in our meeting with the county.
The next item is just the approval of a facilities rental fee waiver for a job fair sponsored by legislator Yvonne Abrahams. And we've done this actually several years running now. And you have an enclosure that shows you what the plans are for the event. And then the next page is the actual resolution that you have to vote on to approve the fee waiver.
Do I have a motion to consider a resolution relating to the waiver of facilities rental fees for the Kevin Abrams sponsored job fair? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
last item is Carol will give the report on our current projects.
What you have in your package is, like last month, just the videos, I didn't print out all the pictures, so if you use the screen to watch it, it's actually a better presentation. We'll start with the Student Services Center. We're at 96% complete now. Our first move is actually scheduled for the first week of June. So I say our current completion date is 5/20. We're processing pending change orders, and we're doing some finish work. That's the new, that photo is the new entrance from A cluster and the parking lots. That's an interesting shot. The one on the left is the original space, the outdoor space that was closed in, and the one on the right is what it looks like now. So if you see where those doors are in the background, that's now the openings that you see in the lobby behind the information desk. That's the largest part of the lobby there. That's the new tunnel from the tower to the new Student Service Center that's been completely gutted and renovated, and that's a typical kiosk that's going to be in place. They're up and running now, and the software for the queuing system will be loaded onto there. That's the other side of the lobby. That would have been just inside those doors that you saw. That's the information desk on the left. That's pretty much in finished condition now. Everything's just protected while the work is finished up. And that's the main entrance from the tower. So what you see on the right is the new bursar counter. On the left is admission advisement. I always get them back. That would be the overflow seating that will happen in this space here on the busiest day. We'll have chairs there, but mainly the two other areas in the lobby were for seating. These are the new counters that have been installed. On the left is the bursar counter. What you see there is the cash window with the glass. The one in the middle is the financial counters, financial aid, student financial services, and on the right is the registrar's counter. Those are the typical lights, and those will be lit up when a student is called, be dark when a student's being served. That's the back of the bursar service counters. Those orange walls, we've used them in very few conditions. Basically, it's service counters. One, it's our school colors, second, it's a cue for a student that they can get service at that counter. And we've talked to the users about sending a student, they look for the orange wall, that would be the counter that you're looking for. That's a typical office. That's the financial section, and a lot of the pictures are from there because it was finished first. Those are the offices on the left and open cubicle seating on the left side of that picture. And those are open service stations, administrative and staff. And cubicles on the right. That's the health records counter that's off the lobby, and that's the new placement testing room. We have two rooms. That's the larger of the two. That's all new furniture with the computers that go down into the desk, and the student looks down into the glass surface. We're moving on to Duncan Avenue, 108 Duncan. The property transfer has finally been completed. We've sent final appraisals up to SUNY for matching funds. They've been processing the paperwork. We're hoping to see those, I would hope, in a month or two. Your Architects is working on an investigation. They finished their investigation report. Now they're working with demolition drawings. The building might take care of that itself. And this is being renovated for the culinary. You can see it. It's being renovated for the culinary program. We are working on some emergency drawings to replace the roof and the structure of the roof because it's rotting. This is a project we're working on with the CCB courtyard. We're working on an outdoor dining. The picture on the left is the before. We had some issues there because the grass never grew. So on the right-hand side, what we're doing now, you'll see a paving area with landscaping in the corners. And those doors at the bottom are from the food court, so we can have outdoor summer seating. The stairs, that's original on the left, and the new pavers. The left was always mud. I don't know how the students sat there. Now we've paved it so that they can sit there, and we've painted that wall blue to match the fountain on the plaza. The art department has expressed some interest in putting some student art, outdoor art on those walls, which would be great. And that's kind of how that paving area is going. We're working on the children's greenhouse. We've helped them. They got some new equipment through a grant, and now we've done new pavement for them, a new concrete slab, new surfacing. That's the base coat, and that's how it looks today, which is really cool. It's my favorite project. Yeah. That's the health services, student health office is what we're calling it now. The construction began in February. That's the photo on the left. What you see on the right is during the construction. This is where we stand now, a new ADA accessible restroom. The interior offices are being finished, and that's how the outside looks today. That's the signage going up. Stop me if you have any questions, please. radiation therapy lab, this is the project that we're just finishing up. I think we have 1% left to do. That's the before and after. And respiratory therapy, respiratory care labs we're going to be working on over the summer and into the fall a little bit. This is the Brick Cafe. We're going to be renovating it for the Center for Students with Disabilities. They're working on a draft program now. It's also going to have a testing room in the center, and we're looking to use that for other testing purposes as well, maybe some private testing in other schools. And our final project for today is Davis Avenue. That photo on the left is the before. Last year we did repaving and new concrete sidewalks, new striping and crosswalks. And this summer, or spring I should say, we're doing paver installation, new light fixtures, new signage, seating. That's how it looks now from above. You can see the new trees just went in, and that's that on the left. That's the kiosk that Joe was talking about. Those were installed yesterday, in fact. And that's it. Any other questions?
Just close.
Okay. Actually, we should call for attendance, or we do that already? We do. Okay, Finance and Capital Committee calendar meeting. All right, the first item is review and approval of minutes from April 12th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 12th, 2016? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2, pending college procurement agreements for board approval.
Can I add a little bit to this? We have distributed the addendum to this resolution on the pending college procurement agreement. What's in this package is the resolution for the pending procurement agreement for the cafeteria services. Generally, this is a revenue item for us, but in the spirit of full disclosure, because you can also look at it as having a revenue and expense side, we just wanted to present it at this meeting. So the net result of this agreement will be an inflow of cash for us at the end of each year on a contract. However, a portion of the agreement, when it's going to be written, we'll talk about the investment of up to $1.5 million that the new vendor is going to make, and Nassau Community College will hold the title to all those fixtures. That $1.5 million will be amortized through the life of the contract. So our payments are going to be net of amortization. And the net payments on the contract are presented on the attachment on the second page of the attachment A. And as you can see, from year 1 to year 10, it goes from there is an escalation clause. We'll be getting from $225,000 a year to $310,000 a year. That's in line with what we're getting now from the existing services from the existing vendor. Right now, will be disconnected with starting in June. Do you have any questions?
Well, you know, I was the one that just brought my concern about not what was here, but what was on the board's agenda, which did not refer to some of what you just said, because I would hope you know, I'm always concerned that everything that we vote on has every part in it in case we end up with an issue. I don't wish it, and I'm assuming that we're gonna have great food, but.
And rightfully so. I think that the way that the amended resolution stands right now, it was amended both for the full board approval and on the finance. It's just more descriptive, and I think it fully explains the situation. If I didn't do this introduction, I'm pretty sure that it speaks for itself.
Do you want to also talk to us just a minute or less than a minute on what is the difference between this type of contract and the contracts we've had in the past?
Sure. So this type of contract, we had the contracts that you've seen before presented. Usually we present purely what's an expense contract. So when we enter into a contract with cleaning services or with custodian services or with a consulting firm, it's here presented for your vote. This is a little bit different because, as I said, at the end of the day, there will be a revenue generated for the college. However, that revenue is net of the amortization of this investment in the capital assets. Now, what's different between this contract and what we had with the GNB? It predates all of us here, but from what I understand, when the existing vendor started here at the college, we did not have any facility for them, and they had to build it from the scratch. As they did, from what I understand, there were no capital improvements that were retained by the college. The contract was written in a way that everything belongs to the JNB. And that had happened maybe 15 years ago. We went through the extensive process of selecting new services, and I think it's an exciting new choice for us. It's a lot of aspects were considered, not just the revenue inflow for the school, but also the nutritional value of their offerings, their price levels. They're the same vendor that are in United Nations, Cradle of Aviation, and they have quite few clients in the tri-state area and around the country. But for the most famous one would be the United Nations. And we're excited to have them here. I think that we hope that will add to the sustaining of our students. Good food.
So I will read this. The current food service contract expires at the end of May this year. The college desires a dining program that provides a high level of creativity and imagination from a contractor that has a record of innovation and entrepreneurial approach to higher education dining. The selection committee is confident that Cullen Orange Group will be able to effectively meet the college's needs for food services. Cullen Orange has committed to make initial capital investment of up to $1,500,000 to be amortized over the term of the agreement. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of pending college procurement agreements as stated above? So moved. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, our second resolution
controls report. Then we've looked at a sample of the OTP expenses and reviewed nothing out of the ordinary was seen based on our audit. We also did the same thing for service contracts, $47,000 worth. Again, there was nothing to report. Going to accounts receivable, we're still collecting. The spring, you can see it's not down to $3 million. Every month it's getting lower. Every other semester we're also collecting on. So, any questions? We always know that we're still collecting the old receivable, and that's an effort that we keep going with.
I was actually surprised at how high summer 2015 outstanding still is. I guess it's there just because it's summer and it's a different clientele, perhaps?
That's $70,000.
Well, I was talking about the percentage, obviously.
Oh.
You know, I was just surprised because I would have assumed that many of those students would have registered either for fall or spring, but they could be students who just come here for that one
Yes.
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you. Travel requests.
Also for the travel, we have an amended travel agenda. There was one travel request added as a last minute. So there should be an addendum to agenda and it says travel request in it. Yes.
Okay. Can you please review the travel request if you haven't had the opportunity to do that quickly? There are 3 travel requests in the amount of, wrong?
Well, the agenda.
Okay, this one. Sorry. There is 1 travel request in the amount of $2,993 to be submitted, reviewed, and if appropriate approved at this meeting on May 10, 2016. Do I have a motion to approve the travel request?
There are 3 others.
It's a total of 11,647.
All right, it's a little confusing, I apologize. All right, so do we vote separately? No, we should vote together. So the total is
11,647.
11,647. All right, I think it's not reflected on that. It says there are 3 or 8
When you sign it, you don't, the motion is not the total amount, you lift the total amount.
Oh,
You
okay.
approve the 4 things, and you signed the 4.
All right, that
Okay.
sounds fine.
That's how we did it. We never did an amount when we did this.
Maybe that was the confusion. It does state 2 amounts here. That add up to 11,647. Thank you. Okay. So we don't have to vote on.
You vote on the travel. You vote on the travel, the 4 travel
On the
requests,
travel
but not on the
request.
total amount. So you can vote on all
Okay.
4.
There are 4 travel requests to be approved. Do I have a motion to approve the travel requests?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The most complicated pieces in here. And the next item, very, very important, and that is our fiscal year 2017 budget.
Okay, 2017 budget. I would like to give an opportunity to Dr. Dolan to introduce it.
I asked Ina for the opportunity to say a couple of words about the budget before she begins with the more granular approach. First of all, because there's a couple of things I'd like to say that she won't. First, I'd like to thank Ina and her whole staff for a great deal of work that goes into preparing the budget. This is a multi-month project, and I very much appreciate all the work that's going on. Also, I'd like to thank the cabinet. We have really struggled with this budget. I think it's been on our agenda, including several permanent items that we put on our agenda since probably December. And we've really worked very hard to come up with a $211,672,134 budget that finds the right balance, the balance between continuing to offer an affordable education, but not depleting services. So let me set the scene first and remind you all of the scenario that we were confronted with as we began. First, we assumed a 5% decrease in students for next year. That seemed to be a more realistic number than what has been used in the past, and we hope that it does not go higher than that. A small increase from the state, approximately a $100 per FTE increase from the state, which admittedly was a little smaller than we hoped for, but still we're very thankful for the state's addition to our revenue budget. No increase from the county, and I did speak about that last month, and I very frankly, I find that very frustrating. I wish that there were an increase from the county. This is the 8th year in a row that the county has not increased its share of the revenue to the college. In all fairness, though, they are very close to what they're supposed to mean statutorily. They were off by about 1.2%, so they are very close, but that 1.2% each year for the 8 years, the last 8 years, certainly would have made a big difference, resulting in about a $10 million gap between expected revenue and expected expenses. And that was what the cabinet, Ina and her staff first, and then the cabinet and I have been struggling with for these last few months. I'm pleased to announce that we have closed that gap, and Ina will explain the details, but I've asked for an opportunity to explain some of the more controversial aspects of how we've done that. As you've read in Ina's memo in tonight's agenda, we are recommending a tuition increase of $334 per year, plus an increase in fees that will total approximately $394 per year per student. That is a very large number. I recognize that, and it is as high a number as the cabinet and I were willing to go before we thought that it would be something that would just not meet with any support at all. It finds the right balance between still staying on the very low end in terms of what other colleges charge, but minimizing reductions in staff and reductions in program. For example, there are 24 individuals who are on what we call temporary lines. That is, they are individuals who were advised that their position would end in June of 2016. They received a letter when they signed indicating it was a temporary line, and I also felt obligated back in February, I believe, or March, to send another letter to them reminding them that this was a very difficult budget. We did not know whether or not we would be able to keep those temporary lines, and I know that people are very concerned about that. I'm very pleased to announce that within this budget that we are proposing today, we've preserved 16 of those 24 lines. And that was a very heavy lift for us to be able to do that. There are still 8 individuals whose positions are at risk, and I have already begun conversations with the NCC about the status of those 8 and what we might be able to do about it. I look forward to further conversations with them. The budget also features $250,000 in administrative reductions by way of attrition, by way of people who will not be coming back, by way of eliminating positions. There's also many cuts in other than personnel costs, and frankly, I think it's been a very creative and diligent effort on our part to find, again, a budget that strikes the balance between maintaining affordability, but minimizing the pain that would have been associated with the kinds of cuts that we were talking about before. I remind everybody, the board certainly knows this, but I remind everybody in earshot right now, this budget that we are proposing still requires board approval, but beyond that, it also requires the approval of the county executive, the approval of the legislature, and ultimately the approval of the SUNY board. So we are not done here tonight, but the budget that we are proposing that Ina will now talk about in greater detail is one that has come about as a result of concern, hard work, diligence, compassion. I'm going to try to mix as many adjectives as I can in there, and try to sum it up as something that we present now to the board with the hope that you will support it. And Ina will talk in a little bit more detail about that now.
Thank you. Okay, I will now go to the detail of this budget. As you know, the budget was posted online. It's actually a line-per-line budget is posted on NCC website. The major assumptions in this budget are there are increases in personal expenses due to contractual cost of living adjustment and staffs and promotion and union contracts that were accounted for. Increase in fringe benefits based on the increases, mostly increases in health insurance premiums. There is about 7.8% increase in the premiums. It's an estimate. It's going to cost us about $1.5 million addition in our health insurance expense. That rate is not going to be set until November, but that's the best estimate we got from the Department of Civil Service. Debt service. Debt service is based on the new renegotiated debt service schedule. The previous presentation at the April meeting, I probably had mentioned that we're renegotiating the debt service, but we actually had signed and have fully executed memorandum of understanding between the college and Nassau County that actually had reduced the debt service for 2017, not the total overall debt service, but just the timing of our payments to the county. And pushed it a year up, so our basically what we should have paid in 2017 will be paid in 2018. Of course, we'll face 2 years of premium payments in 2020, but at this point, we'll just.
So you deferred that expense to 2018?
We deferred the 17 to 18,
Right.
18 to 19, 19 to 20.
And then
It's a
20 you're gonna
4-year
add,
number,
right,
yeah.
okay. So that's why that was decreased by that amount of money. So,
The principal.
so we have to plan, as whoever's on the board in 2020, that it's gonna be a double hit that year.
Yes. Obviously, we're going to be, we'll see where we're going with it, and if we have to renegotiate with the county, we will do at that point.
Yeah, and as long as Dr. Weiss interrupted, I'm going to do so again. I don't want anybody to think that these things just present themselves. Ina has worked very hard to try to find a way to make this bond payment more palatable. I remind you of the fact that it went from 2 to 4 years with the hard work of a lot of people, talking to the people, the powers that be. But then also, Ina's also done some very assertive and creative conversations with powers that be to make sure that we can at least forestall the pain associated with the bond.
On the revenue side, student enrollment and service fees will be affected by the 5% decrease that we anticipate in the enrollment. Student tuition rate, as Dr. Dolan had just mentioned, this budget is prepared based on the increase in both tuition and fees. The tuition we're proposing to increase by $334 per year. It's $167 per semester. It will bring our rate to $4,868 per year, or $2,434 per semester. This budget also anticipates the increase in technology. Technology fees currently, our technology fees are $40 a semester. This is probably the lowest, or one of the lower ones in the industry. Comparative to other schools, for example, Suffolk was at $80 in this year, and they're proposing in their budget to increase it to $125 per semester. So even when we increase our technology fees to $70, we're still going to be considerably less than what Suffolk has. And I have a table later on that shows other schools in the area, how do we compare to their technology fees as well.
How many students does that affect?
It affects everybody. Technology fees do, but music fees that applied music fees that are also increased per the tuition and fee schedule are only affecting about 30 to 40 students a semester. This is a very expensive program. It costs us in music tutors about $230,000 a year. And depending on the number of students taking each particular class, it costs us about $5,000 to $7,000. $6,000 to $8,000 a year to educate them in those programs. Why there is such a range? Because I think every tutor can have from either 1 to 4 students in a class. It depends, it goes per instrument, so if you have more students taking piano than violin, you will have 4 students in the piano tutoring versus, but I think the main point here that it affects a very small percentage of our students, as I said, 30 to 40. Suffolk Community College, I think their fees there are $450 a semester, plus they have $35 of music flat fee for the music students. I think Westchester is at 1.5, is at 150, I think. CUNY schools are not offering music classes to them. They have, that's the information that I'm getting from their website, and our people that are involved in the program. They don't have the extent of the programs in music that we offer at the Nassau Community College, which is a good thing. But it's a very expensive program to offer to our students, and we can never recoup all the expenses from them, because from $6,000 to $8,000 a year, that's obviously you cannot recoup. That's more than our tuition. But we thought maybe going up to the Suffolk $450. However, it's probably not going to be fair to our students who already started in a program and had anticipated $100 of fees for those subjects. So we increased it by $100. Revenue in lieu of sponsor share, that's the revenue we receive from the other counties in the New York State for the students that are residents in those counties. That's basically a double tuition, but not really. It's a formula that calculates it, and it will be impacted as well by the 5% enrollment drop. State aid, $100 increase per FTE. There is 8 years without a sponsor contribution, and we're not using any fund balance in this budget. That was presented in the package and online. As you can see, there is $211 million and the total operating expenses line. That's a $2 million decrease from 2016 budget. Cumulatively, between, this is the second consecutive year with the decreases in budget, and we're $5 million less than our 2015 expenses. Projected loss for 2016 is at about $1.7 million. We had a further deterioration in summer enrollment. That's going to cost us more, about $1 million more in the revenues. What I've presented before assumed flat summer, but now we see that summer is not doing well. The latest enrollment numbers I've seen were over 10% decrease in enrollment for summer. Still early. Hopefully we can recoup, but this is right now what we have on the table. but hopefully that's the worst case scenario. As I mentioned, this little table compares the Nassau Community College 2016 tuition and fees, as well as the proposed Nassau budget for 2017 with the other schools in the area. As you see, even with the proposed increases in those tuition and fees, we still will be lower than Suffolk Community College if their budget is approved.
Can I just get and I apologize if I didn't ask this before, what other fees do students pay besides the technology fee that we're increasing?
Well, it depends on a school per school basis.
Oh, okay.
And that's why sometimes it's very hard to make an apple-to-apple
No,
comparison.
I'm seeing $120 of additional fees, and I just, like a typical student.
That last section.
There is a student,
It's in
yeah,
the tuition.
yeah. There is, let me read from the schedule.
No, I know, but it doesn't really tell us what different things,
Yeah,
so.
it's the last.
I know I have it in there, but it doesn't add up to what the asking. All right, I'll look this sheet over again. Like Jen, do you know, as a student, what additional student fees you pay?
Well, there's the student activities fee.
Okay.
I do the technology fee.
Oh, so there's just, everybody pays a student activity fee?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the rest of the fee is there.
Everybody pays technology activities?
Yeah, this one.
Everything bundled in, activity
Activity
lab,
lab,
lab
material.
materials, but that doesn't, okay. I have that, just at the time. All right, thank you. I saw it.
Next slide in the package shows the decreases in full-time equivalents in our student population. As you see, the projected 2016 is a further decrease of 5.6%. Budgeted 2017 is decrease of 5%. So we will be slightly over 16,000 FTEs, when back in 2011 we were almost at 20,000. This table, I've denoted that the numbers are self-reported. I belong to an organization called Community College Business Officers Association, and through communications with other business officers, we let each other know how we're doing. These numbers are not reported anywhere yet, but some of the colleges choose to answer these questions, and that's why it doesn't have all 30. But I did not just pick those with decreases. Those just happen to be the ones that responded will have decreases. And actually, we are not way out of trend with the other schools. In 2015, however, everybody submitted their annual reports to the state, and then have official formal state numbers. And for 2015, of course, board, all community colleges lost about 3.5% in their enrollment. That slide just takes us back to when we had our discussions of how we're going to finance, on one hand, the deterioration of our revenue base, and on another hand, increases in our salary expenses due to the built-in increases in the union contracts. This slide shows the full-time employee head count and our budget, expense budget, going back to 2008, 2009 fiscal year. And this slide shows the projection of where we're going to be with the fund balance based on the enrollment numbers we have right now.
You know, where did we end up last fiscal year with fund balance, what percentage?
That's the first number, $8.7 million. It was slightly above 4%.
We were above 4% last year, so this year we are below.
Well, this year, the year is not over yet, but
For the 16 year.
That's a lot of money to make up.
yeah. Even with this last summer, we've anticipated about $700,000 loss for the year. So the decrease in summer has only added to the decreased loss in result of operations.
So that means we have to pass a resolution to adopt this budget?
Yes.
Because our bylaws say 4%, which is very low compared to standard rate, 7-8%, is that?
Well, it's
higher?
between 5 to 15%. Just to put it into perspective, for the community colleges, our both restricted and unrestricted fund balance, meaning that besides this $6-7 million, we also have funds that are committed already in obligations to our vendors. So we are on the same level as like Dutchess and Portland community colleges. For example, Suffolk Community College's fund balance is at $25 million, and FIT's is at $66 million.
Can they give us some of their money? No?
Suffolk has a $25 million
Yes.
fund balance.
Well, yeah, they're planning to use some of it in this year,
They're applying
but yeah.
Those are the outliers. There are other colleges I hear from other community college presidents. Ulster's is very low.
It's very low, like meaning this low too?
Lower.
Okay.
Ulster and I compared numbers, and they're very concerned with their situation relative to their fund balance. I do believe that if when we're talking outliers, FIT is an outlier with lots of that.
It's also a four-year school, so.
Four-year school, funded very differently. Lots of other
Anything else you would like to?
Walker, actually, I would like to open it for the questions and discussion.
Well, I had sent Dina a lot of my questions ahead of time, which I always do, so that she can answer them beforehand. I'll just make one comment, and I'm going to vote for this budget, so I make that statement first. I am a little concerned that we balance the budget by making that agreement related to the debt service, because in reality, we're putting off a $2 million debt. And I understand that's what we did to balance this budget, but I think it's important as future boards look at this. This is a Band-Aid for this year, because it's $2 million, 2.6 we should have been paying this year if we spread it out evenly over 4 years. You know, with principal and interest, as opposed to $600,000 that we're paying this year. So we are talking about future budgets having a real impact, and there'll be no way of balancing a future budget without having to pay those, because you can't keep putting off the payment.
Trustee Weiss, I just wanted to interject. When we had originally come into getting these early retirement schemes and put in place incentives, our original idea had been to bond this out for a 10-year period. We were inadvertently put up against a bad situation because of NIFA having a confrontational issue with the county, and they didn't want to lose face with us. At first, they did not want to even grant us a bond. I was able to get us 2, And then through further discussions, I was able to extend it out to 4. As the political climate changes, I think the idea, the intent here is to go back and try to rebond this to what we want to do, which was originally taken out to a 10-year event. So I think by putting it down the line, by kicking the can down the line, what it does is it gives us a little bit better chance to regroup and go back after our original goal, which was to bond this out for 10 years. We're not asking anyone for money. What we're asking is for an equal opportunity to be able to pay this back in an intelligent, structured manner, not the idiocracy that they imposed on us. So this was our best play, given the cards that we were given. But that doesn't mean that we don't get to play again.
No, and I understand all of that. I just think that the last time that Ina presented the budget, she had the full payment and the full quarter payment. And now it is to balance this budget, that $2 million is going to be put off to 2020. And I hope, Dr. Gordon, that your optimism about renegotiating this will work.
Absolutely.
And I think as a fiscally prudent board, we have to recognize that if it doesn't happen in 2 more years, unless we spread it out, but still it's going to have a significant impact on future budgets, that's all. And that's
I don't
a
think
decision.
that Ina did it just to balance the budget. I think Ina just did it because it was good financial advice to be able to delay this out a bit. So I don't think that these are one-shots being used to balance this budget. There have been a lot of cuts made by administration. There's been a lot of serious thought that's gone into this budget that they worked very hard on. And I think that they are all to be commended on having closed a horrific gap that was identified early. And I think that we as a board have a good team that has been very fiscally responsible and has come up with the best scenario given the cards that we have. Anything else, or is that any good news at the end of this? Oh, no,
Right,
okay,
it's
good.
a 10-year bond as well.
All right. The ship is going down, but it's just going down slower.
But I think we still have to be very hopeful, because the dynamics here academically will be that across the nation, we know that this will continue on the down slope. At least we're diversifying with our programs, our degree programs. We're instituting new academic areas, and that will help boost our financial profile eventually. It's just a little catch-up time. And anyone that's even touching any aspects of the business world knows it's just where we are right now in the world, in the transition. And I have to applaud all of the individuals that worked on the budget and all of the academics that are also working to diversify their programs with new goals and new degree areas of study, because eventually that's what's going to push us forward.
The increase in tuition.
We can probably vote on it now.
That's going to be something that is very, very problematic. Hopefully it's not going to be as devastating as it could be. That's the immediate impact. The programs and all that is not an immediate impact.
Okay. Resolved that the Nassau County Community College Board of Trustees hereby approves an operating budget for fiscal year commencing September 1st, 2016 in the amount of $211,673,134. And be it further resolved that the Nassau Community College Board of Trustees recommends the adoption of this college operating budget by the Nassau County Legislature and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York. Do I have a motion to consider this resolution? Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. fee schedule. Tina, are you going to talk about this as well?
Sure. The tuition fee schedule is obviously closely tied to this budget. We worked diligently in a cabinet and within my departments to provide the right balance of increases in the tuition and fees to fund this budget. And as you can see, the main message, the story of this budget is not the increase. We're not increasing the tuition and fees to increase the overall expenses. The overall expenses are dropping from year to year, for 2 years in a row right now. The main message of this budget is we are losing enrollment. And because we're losing the enrollment and we have contractual obligations in terms of our expenses, we have to implement this tuition and fee increases. The tuition increase is budgeted at $167 per semester, or $334 a year, to result in the full-time tuition at $2,434 a semester, and as I had mentioned before, the technology fee will increase to $70, which will be a very low fee compared to the other schools in the area, and nationwide is very low fee.
Resolved that the Nassau Community College Board of Trustees establishes a tuition and fee schedule to be effective for the academic year 2016-17, wherein there shall be an annual increase of $334 in full-time tuition and $14 in part-time tuition, commencing with the fall 2016 semester. In addition, there shall be an increase in the technology fee to $70 for full-time students and $25 for part-time students per semester, and an increase in the applied music fee to $200 per semester, commencing with the fall 2016 semester. And be it further resolved that this tuition and fee schedule be forwarded to the State University of New York for approval. Do I have a motion to consider this resolution? Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, motion carries.
Yeah, we'll, next to the, full board is
Personnel Affirmative Action and Labor Committee meeting open at 6:03 p.m. on May 10th. Present are Ed Powers, Chair, John DeGrace, and Trustee Jackson. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 8th? All three members were present. Motion by Trustee DeGrace, second by Trustee Jackson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Number 2, promotions, collective bargaining agreement, Nassau Community College Federation of Teachers, covering full-time college faculty, set forth the criteria and procedures for faculty promotions. The College-wide Promotions and Tenure Committee has reviewed all promotion applications and now recommends the Board of Trustees, pursuant to the terms of said collective bargaining agreement, that the Board of Trustees promote the faculty members listed below. Resolved that pursuant to the terms of the faculty collective bargaining agreement and upon recommendation of the College-wide Promotion and Tenure Committee and the college administration, faculty members named here within are hereby promoted to the title and position as indicated here within, effective September 1st, 2016. Promotion to full professor, names and department noted. promotion to associate professor, name and department noted. Do I have a motion to consider this item?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on this item? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Are there any other items for consideration under this committee? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Jackson, seconded by Trustee DeGrace. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned at 6:06 p.m.